Hello, good evening, almost evening, you guys. I wanted to come and do a live today because I have a short that is actually gaining a lot of momentum that people are watching. And so, over the weekend, I had came and spoke to you guys about the Maddie Soto case to give an update. All of my subscribers here know I follow politics and true crime stories. A lot of times, sometimes these things can merge together, right? But I want to give us a break today from the political news. I had posted several things on my page for you guys to go take a look at and follow the rabbit hole if you want to, and let me know what you think. Put your thoughts under the comment section. Any questions, concerns, suggestions, just place them there and I will read them and respond. But I have a video that has gone this become very popular on my shorts, right? And the video um is a true crime story involving children. You know, I'm very sensitive to crimes that are committed against children. And so this case is a story out of Florida, and it is the Amanda Lewis case. Give me 1 second, I'm messed up. Okay. The heck is that doing? Okay. And it is the Amanda Lewis case. Adriana Hutto is the little girl whose life was taken. Um, and I decided to come and give the story because I didn't know that the short was going to get so much attention. And I think that I've gotten some subscribers from the attention from that short. So I wanted to come and talk about it to give some more context to it, because some of the comments were concerned about the son, the little boy, the little girl who was unalived. Her brother had to testify, and he testified because he was a witness to the allegations of what took place, right? And so I wanted to come and provide some more context to the story for those who might be new to the channel, or even my day one subscribers who we know we just come here and have conversation. That's just what we do, right? And so I wanted to do that because I did not think that that was going to gain this much momentum, but I only posted it because I wanted to show how much of an epidemic that child neglect and abuse is in this country and in a lot of other places as well. Child abuse, neglect, and exploitation, right? It's a real issue. It's a world issue. So it's not. I said it was an epidemic, but it's actually a pandemic because it's everywhere that this is taking place. And so I posted the short in order to just draw some attention to what we have been talking about with Maddie that day. And it ended up, like I said, becoming very popular and got a lot of views, got a lot of comments. So I wanted to come and give some more context to the case. So I am going to read a article from the Deacon Chronicle, and it is about the case to give some background context. From there, I'm going to then play a portion. I'll find a safe place for us to stop of Adriana's brother's testimony. In this case, he was the eyewitness in the case, which is why he was called. And that was, in the short, that was the concern of some of the commenters, was that why would they have him testify? And so I was explaining that sometimes when a child has been the only witness there, and when the case is being taken to trial, they are the only witness. And so they have no choice but to have them testify, because a prosecutor cannot testify and provide testimony on the behalf of a witness, and a video cannot be played if the witness is available for testimony. And a lot of times the defense, especially when it's a children, they want to get the child on the stand because they want to try to find some inconsistencies in the statements because they're defending their client. And so I wanted to provide that to you for those commenters who were concerned about that and thought it was really cruel. It was very cruel to watch. And I'm going to play some of the testimony for you guys just so you can hear it. I'm going to not try to play all of it because it is a very heartbreaking thing. But I want to play some of it so that you can just hear him providing testimony on what he witnessed, right? And so I'm going to read this article out of the Deacon Chronicle to give some background context to what took place in this trial. Okay. So it says, when 7-year-old Adriana Hutto died of drowning in a swimming pool at her home in Esto, Florida, authorities never suspected anything sinister. According to a report in the Mirror, her mother, Amanda, said she had been cleaning bugs out of the pool, slipped, fell in, and drowned. Her younger brother AJ had tried to save her but couldn't and cried to help. Amanda rushed to the pool, found her daughter lying face first. Hey, Queen Keisha, hey, boo boo. And tried to give her the kiss of life, even as she called emergency services. Fire services arrived soon, and they then airlifted Adriana to the hospital. However, Adriana's brother AJ soon began to tell a different story. While Amanda attended hospital, while um, while Amanda attended hospital as doctors battled to save her daughter's life, AJ was in the care of his grandparents. He began to tell them how his mother had drowned Adriana in the pool, using her hand to cover her face and push her underwater. After hearing AJ's version of events, Amanda's mother, Brenda Burns, and stepfather, Charles Burns, took AJ to the police department for questioning. Amanda's son, AJ, told his grandparents his mother had dunked his sister in the pool for being naughty. AJ was interviewed twice that day, August 8th, 2008, by investigators and child experts, and both times he told a story that broadly remained the same. Adriana had been dunked by his mother as a punishment for being naughty. Her fault? She sprayed window cleaner in the living room over the TV, making her mother very angry. AJ described the events of Adriana's death graphically, using actions to show how his mom had dunked and drowned his sister. She done some stuff that she ain't supposed to. So my mama got mad, so she throwed her in the pool, he said. Adriana died in hospital. Over the next 2 days, Amanda was interrogated by the police. She denied the allegations and even passed a polygraph test. The authorities weren't convinced, though, and over the next month, the investigators and the local prosecutor corroborated multiple elements of AJ's story and decided to investigate further. An inspection of the children's home led to the discovery that their bathroom was squalid and reeking of urine. Adriana had ADHD and had been wetting the bed. Moreover, the room was devoid of toys. A month later, Amanda was charged with a murder. During the trial, the court was shown a sketch AJ drew of the events on the fateful day. Moreover, an autopsy showed a bruise on Adriana's face, which developed into a handprint. The doctor who tried to save Adriana said Amanda was emotionless when she heard her daughter had died, asking where the vending machine was. Amanda's co worker at the nursing home said that she had spoken of killing her daughter after an incident where she vandalized her mom's car, writing loser with permanent marker in the interior. The jury eventually found Amanda guilty after a 4-day trial and sentenced her to life imprisonment without parole, plus 30 years for child abuse. It also emerged that Amanda had lost her first baby, 16-month-old Alex, when she was 17 years old. The cause of death was a seizure. And so that is the end of that article that I read. Queen Keish, I don't know if you heard me when I first came in, but I decided to come live real quick to talk about, just to have a shift on topics. I don't always want to talk about political news to overwhelm people. And I like true crime. I'm sensitive to crimes against children. And so I had posted a short that has been gaining a lot of views. And I wanted to come and speak about it to give context because of some of the comments that were under the video, so that some people can understand why the little boy, the brother, had to get on the stand to testify in this case. He was the eyewitness. He is the one who divulged to his grandmother, his maternal grandmother, that he witnessed something sinister, not a drowning, but that his mother actually committed the crime against his sister. And so the short, like I said, is inside of my um on my page, but I'm going to play a portion of the little boy's testimony right now. So Queen Keish, anybody else that's listening, I want to give a trigger warning, just in case people want to get out of the live. But I'm providing this for the context because I've gained some new subscribers that I think came from that video, and I wanted to explain it based on some of the comments that they left under the video. So I'm gonna go into my YouTube and pull up the testimony for hold on one second. The testimony of little AJ. Okay. Um Hopefully you guys can hear it though. Oops, I'm sorry. Let me start over. November 22nd.
Okay. Okay. AJ, if you'll come right over here and just have a seat in that chair right over there, okay? We good, Miss Lynette. That'll be fine. Can you sit in this chair right here, AJ? Pull that up. Right. Now this is a microphone right here. All right. Good morning, AJ.
Good morning.
Would you tell us your name?
Andrew Hunter.
Do your friends call you AJ?
No.
Do you have a middle name? What is that?
Jordan.
Jordan. Sometimes do you let me call you AJ?
Yep.
Okay. How old are you?
7.
Did you have a birthday a few months ago?
Yes, so.
When was that?
November 22nd.
And you were 7?
Yes, so.
What school do you go to?
Graceful Elementary.
And what grade are you in, AJ?
4th grade.
First grade. Do you have a best friend in the first grade?
Yes.
What is his name?
Zachary.
And you already know the colors, is that right?
Yes, so.
Would you tell these people what your favorite color is in the whole wide world?
Green.
Green. Now, do you know the difference between a truth and a lie or a story?
No, so.
Can you tell this jury what a truth is?
Yes, so.
All right. For instance, if I told you I had on a green shirt, I got on a green shirt?
No, so.
What color shirt do I have on?
White.
Would that be the truth or a lie if I said I had a green shirt on?
A lie.
Now, if I said...
Okay, so I want to stop right there because, and I'm watching this with you guys for the first time because, like I said, I found it after I posted this short. Yes, Queen Keish, they put him on the stand, but you're gonna find out why, and I stopped it right there so I could try to explain. So, prosecutors try really hard not to put children on the stand. They really do. But in the event that a child is the one who is the only, especially the only witness to a crime, they kind of have no choice because it is a defense strategy, really, to be honest with you. Like, there's so many preliminary hearings and evidentiary hearings and things like that take place. You know this, Queen Keish, prior to a trial taking place. And this is why I'm coming to provide context because I don't know if some of the people making comments on this might not even be in this country because some of the comments that were left were in another language and I translated so I could make out what they were saying. But like I said, the short has gained a lot of attention, and that's what made me want to come talk about it. And not a lot of people made comments, but there were some people, enough people, who made comments about the AJ having to testify in this case. And so a lot of times, you said, but how you know the kid is okay. So that's why I stopped it right there for a second, Queen Keish. That's what I'm about to explain. So we are going to play some. I'm not going to play the whole thing because, like I said, I know it can probably be difficult to even listen to this little boy provide this testimony. But because of the attention that the short got, like I said, I wanted to come and give some context to those who may have subscribed to the channel from the short, right, to this case. And so, one, so the defense has a strategy to make the witness not credible, and the defense honestly only cares about their client. They do not really care about the witnesses and preserving their safety, right? Even if it's the child, because the role of the defense is to protect their client. And so as a result, what I wasn't able to see any preliminary hearings or anything like that, but based on other cases that I know about personally and ones that I have witnessed as I watch true crime stories, um, I am certain that the defense more than likely would not accept his interview with the child forensic psychologist. They may have recorded it, but they wouldn't accept it because he was available to actually testify in person. And they cannot, a prosecutor or someone who heard him tell the story cannot come testify, because it would be hearsay, and for someone who heard it, like a detective, and then if it was the prosecution, they cannot provide testimony. And so the defense will push the child to have to be the one to provide the testimony. And the reason why is because of what you are highlighting, Queen Keish. Children, that nobody really wants children to have to testify. So it's one part of their strategy that they do in order to try to test the case to see, is the evidence strong enough? Is the witness strong enough to even be able to testify to confirm what the allegations are? But then two, that the child may provide some inconsistent statements that might work on the behalf of the defense, right? And so you said you couldn't be on the stand at 7. I barely. So exactly. And there's some, and when that's the case, Queen Keish, it is very difficult, and that is why the defense is part of the defense strategy. Because if you have a child that does not articulate well, then the whole case could fall apart. The whole case could fall apart. And so the defense uses this strategy in order to work in the best interest of their client. And it is cruel, but it is what they do. And so this is why you hear the prosecutor establishing some things to let the jury know that this child is a credible witness. Number one, he's able to articulate very well, answer questions precise. He is doing it for lack of the harm that we know that is about to take place from him having to go through this and recollect all of these things. He is establishing that this child is able to provide testimony. And when he asked him about whether he knows the difference between the truth and the lie, and he demonstrates that with the example of the color of his shirt, he is demonstrating that this child knows what he's talking about. He knows what he sees, and he knows what he didn't see, right? And so this is all preliminary questioning in order to establish either to the judge or to the jury that this child is competent to tell the story, right? And so that is why you're seeing this happen here. Because in cases where the child cannot convincingly tell the story, and they cannot be confident about telling the story, sometimes the case will fall apart and the perpetrator will get away. And that is the job of the defense, to do that. And as cruel as we think it is what it is. So I'm going to go back to his testimony.
AJ, you've got a white shirt on. Would that be the truth? All right. Now, what happens to people or little boys that don't tell the truth?
They get a spanking and they get grounded.
Today, can you tell us the truth if I ask you some questions?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that's the most important thing?
Yes, sir.
Tell the truth.
Yes, sir.
Judge, those are my questions. If I could say counsel, that'd be Judge.
So in turn, what the prosecutor is doing at this time is qualifying the witness. So basically, the same way that they qualify an expert in a trial, he's qualifying this little boy to say that this boy is well aware of what he's going to be saying on this stand today, and he is able to testify to what he saw, right? So he should demonstrate, like I said, that there's going to be no issue with him being able to tell the story of what happened and what he saw.
AJ, Mr. Smith, this gentleman standing right over here, has a couple of questions he wants to ask you, okay?
Okay.
All right, Mr. Smith.
So now the defense attorney is about to ask him some questions too. It is really the role of the defense attorney to try to not make him look credible enough to testify, right? So we might hear some changing in the tone and how he's being questioned by the defense attorney.
AJ, Mr. Bastard asked you if you could tell us the difference between the truth and a lie, and you said no, sir. Is that what your answer was?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what a lie is?
It's not the truth.
Can you tell me what the truth is?
It's not a lie.
If I told you your mother was in the courtroom here today, would that be the truth?
No, sir.
That would not be the truth. Why is that? Because she's not in the courtroom?
No, sir.
Okay. So your mother is not in this courtroom.
No, sir.
Okay. And you're telling me that that is the truth, that your mother is not in the courtroom.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where is your mother?
Jail.
She's in jail. You don't see her in this courtroom, do you?
No, sir.
Because she can't be here. She's in jail, isn't she?
Yes, sir.
It would be impossible for her to be here in the courtroom, wouldn't it?
So,
Thank you, AJ.
Bastard?
AJ,
yes, sir.
when is the last time that you saw your mother? Do you remember?
No, sir.
Has it been a long time?
Yes, sir.
Who do you live with now?
My Aunt Carla.
Aunt Carla?
Yes, sir.
And does she
Oh,
have a
his aunt
husband?
is named
Yes,
Carla.
sir.
Who's that?
Richard.
Okay. Is Aunt Carla in the courtroom?
Yes, sir.
Where is she sitting? Would you point her out before the jury? Okay. What color top does she have on?
Brown.
Okay. Is that her sitting right there on the second row?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, AJ, have you
Okay, so I want to stop it right there. So remember I said that the defense was going to attempt to try to disqualify him as a credible witness, and that's exactly what he did by asking him when he asked him was his mother in the courtroom, right? Everybody knows that in a trial that is where there is a defendant, that the defendant is in the courtroom, and so we all know that the mother is in the courtroom, but he cannot identify his mother. And so the defense tried to use this in order to disqualify him, saying that he's not credible because he could not point his mother out in the courtroom. So then the prosecutor is coming back now to say, let me point out someone that he's more familiar with because it has been a while since he's seen his own mother. And so let me show that he demonstrate he can identify someone that he is familiar with, and then we will go from there. So I'm going to press play.
met this man before right here? Mr. Brandon?
Yes, sir.
All right. How about this man? Have you ever met him before? The one that was asking you questions, Mr. Walter.
No, sir.
Okay. How about Miss Kim right there? Have you ever seen her before?
No, sir.
All right. That woman sitting right there between them. Have you ever seen her before?
Yes, sir.
Who is that?
My mother.
So now, when he is directed to look in the appropriate direction, he is able to identify her as his mother. At the time, and when you go watch the short, at the time that he was asked by the defense attorney, the mother had her head slightly hanging low, right? Hey, Kim, how you doing, boo? So the mother had her head hanging slightly low when her attorney asked him could he identify her, but when his attorney asked the question, when the prosecutor asked the question, it caused the mother to raise her head. When the mother raises her head and he points the little boy in the right direction to look in the courtroom, he is able to identify that yes, my mother is in the courtroom.
Now you recognize your mother?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, look at me, AJ. This time we're ready to proceed, Judge.
You may proceed.
I still object to the witness.
And your objections noted for the record. Previous order of the court.
So now he's breaking down because this is the part of my story where he starts to cry because now he's realizing that his mother is actually there.
AJ,
Yes, sir.
can you hear him? All right. Here. Here. AJ, do you see these people sitting over here?
Yes, sir.
I met these people yesterday for the first time. And I told them today that Adriana was dead. Is she dead? Gonna have to answer so they can hear.
Yes, sir.
They want to know how Adriana died.
Yes, sir.
Now, I wasn't there, AJ, was I?
Yes, sir.
Were you there when she died?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell them how she died?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I want you to think back to the day that she died, okay?
Okay.
Who was at home that day?
Alan Michael.
Alan Michael? Who else?
My mother.
Yeah, Queen Peace, this is very sad.
And where were you? Where was everyone? Do it this way. Do you remember when you got up that day? Do you remember what happened? Would you just tell me what happened? If you tell me, they can hear.
Yes, sir.
All right. That day.
So right there, the prosecutor is redirecting him to just pay attention and focus on him because he can see that he, like I said, he got emotional when he realized that his mother was in a courtroom. And so now the prosecutor is attempting to recenter his focus and tell him to look at him, make him his focal point so that he can tell him the story. You don't got to worry about anybody else in this courtroom. Just worry about telling me the story, right? Because the little boy is comfortable with him and he's told him the story before. And so the prosecutor uses that in order to try to calm him down and get him comfortable to tell the story. It is very sad. And what is most disgusting to me is that a mother would allow her child to go through this. But when we get through some of this, you're going to see why she did that.
When you got up, what did you do?
I don't know.
Okay. Did you watch any cartoons?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where did you sleep that night? Did you sleep in your bedroom or did you sleep somewhere else?
I slept in the living room.
And what did you sleep on? Was there a special bed that you slept on that day?
Yes, sir.
What was that?
That's a bed.
Just a bed, like a camping bed?
Yes, sir.
All right. And Adriana, where did she sleep?
She slept in the bedroom.
Okay. Did your mom come home from work that day? That morning?
Yes, sir.
What were you doing when she came home from work?
I was still sleeping.
Okay. Did there come a time that you watched some TV that day?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What did Adriana do that day?
Nothing.
Did she do anything to get in trouble that day?
Yes, sir.
What did she do, AJ?
Spray some spray on the windows.
Oh, yeah? Why?
So remember in the opening article, we read that that's what he said, that she sprayed some spray on the windows or sprayed some spray somewhere she wasn't supposed to spray the spray. And this is what caused the mother to get angry. I'm not going to, we're going to try to get through the prosecution part of this video. I am not going to play the defense part of the video unless y'all want me to, because like I said, I don't want to overwhelm anybody because this is a touchy subject, but I felt an obligation to kind of give some context to the short based on how much viewership the short received over the last few days. So I wanted to bring more context to the story. Like I said, it is difficult to see a child on the stand. And so I can understand people's reaction to seeing that, especially people who don't know that this traditionally can happen. And so I wanted to explain why it was done and also to show some how the prosecutor handled him in the situation.
Was she doing that?
I don't know.
Was she spraying any other spray that day?
Yes, so
How did it smell?
awful.
Awful? Okay. Where was your mom? Where was your mama when she was doing that?
So when he's you say I hope that he did too. I'm pretty sure that they did. Like I said, the guardian ad litem is sitting right next to him. So he has the prosecutor is right there at the witness podium, witness desk with him. And the guardian ad litem is right there as well. And so he is feeling supported. It's trying to make him feel some type of comfort despite how difficult the situation is. Now, what the prosecutor is doing here is trying to show that his sensory skills are well developed. He's asking him, what did the spray smell like? Asking him who else was there. All of these things is letting them know that this boy is not cognitively impaired, that he's very aware of what he saw, what he smelled, what he touched, everything like that. And so that's also shoring up his credibility in his testimony.
She was in bed.
Okay. Did she wake up?
Yes, so
All right.
Queen Keisha, I think she was 7. I think she was 7, but I'll double check and go back into, because we're going to go through something else, because like I said, there's another part to the story.
What happened to Adriana when your mother woke up?
she got grounded.
All right. Can you tell us how that happened?
Yes, so
All right. Tell us about that.
I can't remember.
You can't remember?
Yes, so
Were you inside or were you outside?
inside.
Did you go outside that day?
Yes, so
Now, at some point, did you and Adriana go outside to play that day?
yes, so
What were y'all playing?
tractors.
Tractors?
Yes, so
Where were you playing with those tractors, AJ?
I can't remember.
All right. How is it that Adriana got drowned that day, AJ? Can you tell me?
Yes, so
All right. Let me ask you some other questions then. Did you see any men that day working around your house?
yes, so
What were they working on?
trees.
Okay. Cutting trees?
Yes, so
Where were they doing that?
at my house.
Okay. If I showed you some photographs, some pictures, could you tell us where they were cutting those pictures? I mean, where they were working and cutting those trees?
Yes, so
All right. Judge, could we turn this camera on, please? AJ, I want you to come over here. We're going to put some photographs up here, okay?
okay.
Come on over here. Right. like here. All right? We can blow that up, please. You see how it gets on the screen over there so people can see? All right. Now then, AJ, do you recognize this picture? And we will identify these A1A. Do you recognize this?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is this the road that goes in front of your house?
Yes, sir.
Where were those people working that day? Would you point with your finger where they were working that day? Okay. So they were cutting these trees down right there?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, you've got a red wagon, don't you, AJ?
Yes, sir.
Where was your red wagon that day?
In there.
Over there?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is that close to like a four-wheel trail or something?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, your wagon's not in that picture. What happened to your wagon?
My mama just pulled it all the way over to the pool.
Over to the pool?
Yes, sir.
I want to show you this photograph here, 1B. Let's just move that one out of the way. 1B. Now, whose red wagon is that?
Mine.
And there's a bicycle. Whose bicycle is that?
Mine.
Okay. This pool, whose pool is that?
Owls.
Alan? Alan Carnley?
Yes, sir.
Who is he?
My Aunt Carla's boyfriend.
Okay. Aunt Carla's boyfriend.
No, my mama's boyfriend.
Okay. All right. So, did y'all live with him?
See,
Yes,
but
sir.
he knows what he's
Okay.
saying.
All right.
He just
I
knows
was just
knows
checking.
what he's saying.
Now then, how did that wagon get there?
My mama pulled it all the way from there.
Yeah. From this picture, she pulled it from there.
She pulled it from there all the way back
Okay.
to here.
All right. Now, let's see. That's just another photograph of your wagon there.
Okay, so he's showing him some things so he could be familiar. As he's doing this, the little boy is much more comfortable. The prosecutor is like hands-on with him at this time. This is the way they do certain things to make child witnesses much more comfortable to testify. If they are really trained well, then they really do a lot of things to make the children feel comfortable. But in this case, there was no way that they would have been able to prosecute the mother without his testimony. The mother would have had to admit to the crime in order for him not to have to go through this process. Part of her defense is, in the strategy of her defense team, is to make this small child testify and make him testify consistently in order for them to prove the allegations that are being made against the mom. He is the key witness. He is the star witness. He is the only witness who is saying that he saw this happen. And so there was no alternative but to put him on the stand in order to testify. And I don't want to go like a whole lot further into it unless you guys want me to, because like I said, it might get sad for you guys. I don't want to overwhelm anybody or overstimulate anybody with the testimony, because like I said, I know it is difficult and rough when a child is placed on the stand. But I wanted to let you all. You want me to keep going, Kim? Okay. Yeah, okay. So I'll keep going then. Since you guys are okay with it, I'll keep going.
Now, where were you when your sister got drowned that day? Let me see. First of all, what is this right here? Are these tractors that you were talking about playing with? Can you just put them right there? Are those your tractors?
Yes, sir.
That one, and is that one too?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. And whose fire truck is that?
Mine.
Okay, all right. And AJ, what is that?
A gun.
Did you have that gun that day?
Yes, sir.
Where were you playing, AJ? When your mother pulled that wagon up there, what were you doing? Do you remember?
Yes, sir.
Tell us what you were doing. Did you draw a photograph? Did you draw a picture?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Jay?
Yes, sir.
Here I am, over here. All right. Now, first of all, do you recognize this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so they had a sidebar. That's why you heard that little brief intermission. They had a sidebar, and I'm sure it was over whether or not they could enter the picture into evidence, because the picture that he draws is detailing the events of what took place, and this is going to help guide him as he's testifying to the story that he told previously. And it is just like I said, something that can help his memory to recollect what happened, and also make him feel comfortable that he's confident that because it's something he did, it's something he created.
Who made this?
I did.
Okay. Now I see some writing on here. Did you write that on here?
Yes.
Where did you make this? Do you remember where you made this? Were you visiting Miss Lynette one day when you made this drawing?
Yes, sir.
Will this drawing help you to explain to the jury what happened?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Miss Lynette is the court-appointed guardian ad litem. So he is in the care of his aunt. She is the one who is caring for him, or at least at the time of this court hearing, that is the case. But the guardian ad litem is somebody, for those who don't know, like I said, because I don't know the background of all the people who responded to the video, so I want to try to be as detailed as possible. The guardian ad litem is someone that is appointed by the court in order to represent the best interest of the child. And so even though he has a guardian, for the purposes of court, this woman is who he's speaking with. I mean, this person is the one who is overseeing the process of the case, and also his transition into his new environment. And so, and speaking up for him to what she believes is best for him. And so she, like I said, I told you earlier, she is alongside him while he's in the witness box, and she is the one who he drew this picture with while talking with her at the time that he was taken in to be questioned about the situation.
Do you remember what day you drew this?
No, sir.
Okay. When you drew this, did this help you explain what happened? Help you tell the story of what happened?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now look, AJ, this yellow one has some writing on it. Is that your writing, that little small writing?
Yes, sir.
All right, but the big writing is yours. If we use this diagram right here that just has your writing on it, did you do all of this and do all of this drawing?
Yes, sir.
All right. With that, Judge, we move this as State's Exhibit 2B.
Over the defendant's objection, I will submit it as stated Exhibit 2B.
So right there, that's how you're knowing that they had a sidebar, that the defense objected to this picture being admitted into evidence, but the judge admits it into evidence.
Request permission to publish to the jury. All right, AJ. Now, tell me, AJ, what is this right here?
My pool.
Your pool?
Yes, sir.
The one that was in this picture that we just saw a few minutes ago?
Yes, sir.
All right. And who is this right here?
Me.
What are you doing, AJ?
I'm just playing.
All right. Were you playing with anything?
Yes, sir.
What were you playing with?
That.
Okay. What's that supposed to be?
I can't remember.
Okay. You can't remember?
Yes, sir.
All right. What is this right here?
A tree.
Were you playing in the tree or around a tree?
In the tree.
In the tree. Okay.
Oh,
Now, what is this right here? Who is this or what is this?
my mama.
Okay. And what is she doing?
Killing my sister.
How is she doing that, AJ?
Did y'all hear what he said? You said I just seen that the case is old. She still says she right. That's what I'm going to play that, Queen Keys. That's what I'm saying. There's another twist to this case. I'm going to play a brief video after I go through this. I'm going to read another piece of information, and then I'm going to play the video of that. But that was another reason why I wanted to come and provide this context to this story, right? Yes, Kim. Yes, he says killing my sister. Yes. Killing my sister. What is your mama doing? She's killing my sister. He says that confident. He is not in any way confused what his mother was doing, what his picture shows, and what he recollects from that day.
Putting her hand over my face.
Would you show me how she put her hand over your sister's face? Huh?
No, so.
You don't want to do that?
No, so.
Okay. Who is this?
My mother.
And who is this?
My sister.
What is this right here?
My mother's arm.
Your mother's arm?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What does this mean right here? She did.
Died.
What?
She died.
She died. Okay.
So he has the picture is showing the mother hanging the sister over the little kiddie pool, and he has like this stick. It's the stick figures that he drew, and the arm is extended out to show that is the mother's arm. I guess covering the obstructing the sister's airway to breathe, and that he wrote on the picture, "She died."
Okay. You mean your sister died? Okay. What is too bad? What does that mean?
That was scary.
It was scary. When this was happening, could you see it?
No, sir.
Was that a yes or a no?
Yes.
Where were you? Get the pad. AJ,
So.
if I drew...
He looks back at his mother when the prosecutor goes to get another piece of evidence. He looks at or gets a piece of paper. He looks back at his mother and he's about to break, but the prosecutor realizes that contact is being made, and he quickly begins to talk back to him in order to distract him and bring him back to the story.
Diagram right here. Okay. If this is your trailer, this is the home where you live, and this is the tree out front. The pool would be where? Over here?
Yes, sir.
And the shed, what did y'all keep in the shed?
Volleyball.
Okay, balls? Would that be back over here?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, and if this is the road that was out in front of the house, where were you when you saw your sister die, or when your sister died? Where were you? You were here in this tree?
Yes, sir.
Did you stay in the tree, or did you move anywhere?
I moved.
Where did you move to? Right here?
Yes, sir.
At the corner here?
Yes, sir.
Where was your sister when you were there? Where was your mama when you were there? Right there?
So he is showing that he was initially in the tree, which means he was at an elevated position from where the kiddie pool was located, which means nothing was obstructing his view. He comes down from the tree to come closer to the pool when he realizes that something is happening to his sister.
Is that when she did this? Is that the reason you're drawing this?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, AJ, were you ever playing in any trees over here that day on that side of the house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When were you playing there?
I can't remember.
Okay. All right. That day, did you ever go over and see your sister in the pool?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that. When did you go over there?
I can't remember.
All right. Do you remember them taking your sister, the firemen coming out there and taking your sister in the ambulance?
Yes, sir.
All right. Where did you go after that?
With my granny and pot shop.
Okay. And where did you go? Did you go to their house?
Yes, sir.
Right. On the way to their house, did you talk with Podshock about this?
No, sir.
Okay. Did Podshock end up taking you to the sheriff's office or to see the police that day?
Yes, sir.
All right. And could you remember those details of that day better then than now?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you talk to the police that day?
Yes, sir.
Did they make a video of you?
Yes, sir.
Did you tell them the truth that day?
Yes, sir.
Did you tell them all the things that you could remember?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, when did this happen?
Now, they asked, did he make a video? Because, yes, they are going to take a video. We know we see that all the time. They are going to take a video. And so there are some people who might ask, well, why didn't they just use the video instead of having him testify? Like I said, this is because the defense is going to press the line. The defense is hoping that he's not going to be able to testify convincingly. The defense is hoping that he's not going to be consistent in his statements. They are hoping that he is going to say something different in the testimony than what he said on the video. They are using this because now it's been time in between the time that the event took place and then the trial is their trial. And so they are using that to their advantage as part of their strategy, like I said, because they are trying to get their client off. And Queen Keisha already let y'all know. And this, we are here in this, looking at this, because this mother is not admitting to this crime. She is sticking to the fact that the daughter drowned in the kiddie pool. And so she is not admitting to the crime. And so to properly defend her, they are using all of the strategies necessary in order to defend her. And so despite the fact that, yes, there was a video that he did that was closer to the event occurring, they could have used that, or people would think they could have used that. Why didn't they use that? Why would they put this child through this? It is because the defense is pushing the line. And the prosecution has two options when that happens. They either have to prepare that witness for testimony, or they would have to drop the charges. And then she would not go through, there would be no justice in the situation. And so the prosecution did what they needed to do in order to prepare this little boy to testify to get justice for his sister. He was the only person who could do it. And the prosecution team, like I said, I keep reiterating it, they did a magnificent job. I have seen some cases where children have had to testify, and I wanted to kill the prosecution team, because like it was just like they were so insensitive. But in this situation, this prosecutor, this guardian ad litem, this was an inviting, this is inviting as it could be for this little baby. It was inviting for him to come and avenge his sister's death, right? You got the killing of his sister and his mother at the hands of his mother. He is the only person who saw this. And so the only way in order to bring this to justice is to have him testify.
Do you even know when this happened? Was it a long time ago?
Yes, sir.
Right. When it happened that day, did you remember these things better then?
No, sir.
Could you answer the police officer's questions that day?
Yes, sir.
And did they ask you some of these questions that I'm asking you about what happened to your sister?
Yes, sir.
Were you truthful?
Yes, sir.
Now, AJ,
Yes, sir.
after this happened to your sister, what did your mama do?
I can't remember.
Were y'all supposed to go to town that day to get some supplies, some school supplies?
Yes, sir.
Did you end up going that day to town to get school supplies?
No, sir.
Where was Alan Michael when this happened?
He was in the house.
Okay. What was he doing? Do you know?
No, sir.
All right. When your sister drowned, what did your mother do? How did she find out that Adriana had drowned?
I can't remember.
All right. Do you remember telling the police officers this?
Yes, sir.
All right. You remember one day I showed you a video of you talking to the police?
Yes, sir.
Did you remember talking to them?
No, sir.
Okay. But when you saw that video, you did, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
All right. In fact, do you recognize this picture that will be marked as State's Exhibit 16? Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
Who is that boy in there?
Me.
All right. Now, where was that taken? Do you know?
No, sir.
All right. Does that help refresh your memory? Does that help you remember? Does that help you remember what you showed the police officers as to how your sister died?
Yes, sir.
Was that a yes or a no?
No.
Okay. Is that you in there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that what you showed the police?
This is a long time for a child his age to be on the stand. Like I said, he is doing very well. This is a long time for a child of his age to be on the stand like this, providing testimony, and he still has to go through the defense testimony. I mean, the defense questioning. But he is getting fidgety. He's yawning. He's putting his hand on his head, and he's looking around. And so, just normal things that a normal child would do. And I'm saying this for a reason. I'm saying this for a reason for us to go to the next segment of this, right? So he's doing the normal things that a child would do when they are providing this type of traumatizing placed in this type of traumatizing situation, or any situation for that matter. Children can get fidgety at church. They could get fidgety if they have to do a performance, that they're waiting, other people are doing their part and they're waiting to do their part. Like a child his age, that is a normal reaction. But the defense is going to try to exploit this in another fashion when they are going through these appeals processes, right? And trying to gain support for the mother and saying that none of this was true, that this whole story was made up. And Queen Keish gave the giveaway. Yes, the mother is saying that she is still innocent. She didn't do any of this, that this whole story was a lie. And they are going to use some of the things that I'm telling you and describing to you in order for them to try to justify why the boy was not consistent with his statements. But we can clearly hear him. He is not confused at all about telling the story about his mother killing his sister.
Yes, so.
AJ,
Yes, so.
are you getting tired of answering my questions?
Yes, so.
All right. I understand. I've just got a few more, okay?
Okay.
When I get through, that other guy, he's going to ask you some questions of Mr. Walter, okay?
Okay.
I want you to try to answer all of his questions for him, all right?
Okay.
The day that this happened, AJ, did you see any Army men?
So that was a good technique that he used in order to try to transition him into the fact that now someone else is going to be up here asking you questions. That was a good thing for him to do. There are lots of trials where I watched where children have been the witness and they did not make that kind of smooth transition to the defense questioning. But he made a very smooth transition into, okay, I only got a couple of more questions. I know you're getting tired. I got a couple of more questions. And then the other man who was over there, he's going to ask you some questions. And because he trusts the prosecutor, because it's someone who he spoke with before, that he's familiar with, he is reassuring him that it's okay to answer his questions too. My questions aren't the only one that you need to answer. I want you to make sure that you answer everything that he asked you as well.
Helicopter.
Yes, so.
What were they doing?
Nothing.
Okay. Were they in the sky or was it on the ground?
In the sky.
Could you hear Adriana when this was happening to her?
Yes, so.
When that was happening to her, you could hear her?
Yes, so.
What was she saying?
I can't remember.
All right. Who found Adriana in the pool, if you remember?
I did.
What did you do? How did you find her in the pool? Does this picture help us to show what you did?
Yes, so.
Okay. We're looking at 1C.
Do another picture.
How did you find her in the pool? Could you see in the pool? Or did you have to get in something?
I had to get in my wagon.
Okay. When you saw her in the pool, what did you do?
I can't remember.
All right. Do you remember meeting a police officer named Mr. Mike that day, Mike Rayleigh?
Yes, so.
All right. Did you tell him about this?
Yes, so.
And you could remember it then?
Yes, so.
All right. Is that the day that he made that video of you?
Yes, so.
AJ, were you outside when the fire department came? When the people, the rescue workers came that day, were you outside?
No, so.
Where were you?
Inside.
Why did you go inside?
Because my mother told me to.
And what did you do when you went inside?
Nothing.
Okay. Did you see Alan Michael inside?
Yes, so.
Did you say anything to Alan Michael inside?
No, so.
Now, you showed us photographs. We've seen photographs of your bike. Where was Adriana's bike that day? Do you know?
No, so.
Okay. It's been a long time ago.
Yes, so.
AJ,
So.
you said your mama did this. Who is your mama?
Amanda Lewis.
Okay. Is she in this room today?
Yes, so.
Where is she? Can you point her out and show the judge where she is?
She's right here.
Okay. All right. Have you done your best to tell us the truth as best as you remember it?
So.
All right. Now, I'm going to get you back over here, and Mr. Walter's going to ask you some questions, okay?
Okay.
All right, come back over here.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it right there because I don't want to go through the defense questioning because it might be a little rough to go through that. But that was the end of the prosecutor's questions of him. And at the end, he went back so to make sure that he could give a solid identification of the mother. And the little boy did not have the same reaction when he identified her the second time around. AJ was able to turn around and point directly at his mother and say, "That's my mom, Amanda Lewis. It is her. She is the one who did this to my sister." And so at the beginning of the testimony, we see he has difficulty identifying his mother. But by the time we get to the end of the testimony, he is confident with being able to identify her and not get emotional. And so this little boy did an extraordinary job considering the circumstances and defending his sister and what happened to her. And like I said, I decided to come and speak about this because the short gained so much conversation. And I wanted to make sure that I was providing the context and that the prosecution team was not being demonized in this situation, and that people could understand why they had to use his testimony in order to proceed with this case against Amanda Lewis. And so now I want to go pivot to the next section of this live, because the mother is denying that she did any of this, as Queen Keisha revealed, and as I said before, she is maintaining her innocence, and she is saying that she is innocent. She did not do this, that her daughter drowned, that her son did not tell a truthful story. And let me get to what she's saying. So Amanda Lewis is alleging that there was an unfair trial. And there is a website that says freeamandalewis.com. And that website gives a timeline of what she says took place the day that Adriana was unalived, right? And so this is the base for her saying that it was an unfair trial on the website freeamandalewis.com. Amanda was convicted on two major points: the testimony of her son AJ and a faulty medical report. AJ could not remember his story the day of the trial, barely answering yes/no questions. His original interview provided to the police was admitted as evidence, despite the interview not following proper protocol because of the absence of CPS or a trained child interview expert. The medical examiner who provided the autopsy report fled the state prior to the trial due to his removal of licensing for vast misconduct on hundreds of autopsies. He currently resides in New Jersey, where he is a clown and magician for children's birthday parties. In Dr. Siebert's absence, his administrative assistant, who had no medical experience and prior perjury convictions, read his notes in place of his testimony. The jury of 6 people had 2 individuals leave after the first day. After a 3-day trial, they unanimously decided upon their verdict within an hour. Okay, so this is part of what they are using in order to say that she's innocent, that somebody conjured this story up and fed this story to her child, and it is why he repaints this story. And so I'm going to play for you and let you hear Amanda in her own words, because she has gone through 2 appeals. I think one was in I think one was in 2010 and the other one was in 2019, I believe. But she's gone through 2 appeals, and the decisions were upheld. But this is what she is using to say that she is innocent, and this was all conjured up as a witch hunt. In my freedom. Okay, give me 1 second. Here we go.
911. I need an ambulance, please. 911. I need an ambulance. What's wrong, ma'am? My daughter fell in the pool and she's not breathing. Where at, ma'am? In Esto. Yes, down the road from the post office at the very end. And she's not breathing? How old is she? She's 7 years old.
Yeah, she's 7.
My name is Amanda Lewis. I lost my kids and my freedom in the blink of an eye, and I am innocent. They wanted to go outside. They actually wanted to get in the pool, but I had told them no because we had things to do. My son was playing with his cars in the driveway. Adriana was playing with him, and I went back in to switch laundry over. And that was as fast as it happened. And my son came in and said Adriana was in the pool. I went to the sliding glass door, and when I looked out, I could see something moving in the pool. And I ran outside, and that's when I found her in the pool. We took so much caution. We kept the ladder locked up. I just felt like we were so careful. And now, this is what happened.
So it was immediately listed as an accidental drowning. That's how they immediately
Tell me what you mean when you say dump. Somebody dumped somebody.
Mama dumped my sister.
What does that mean?
Drowned.
So they used a clip right there from his interview, his police interview, when his grandparents took him into the police station to report what he told them, his grandmother. And they used that little clip to mention the drowning. And so this is the imagery that they are using in order to try to frame this innocence around Amanda Lewis. This clip is coming from the Georgetown University Prisons and Justice Initiative website. You said she was offered a plea deal for only 10 years if they thought she did that. Is absolutely. You said if they thought she did that is a life sentence. Yes, but you want to know what, Queen Keish? They probably did it to avoid her son having to testify. And I'm glad you said that. I am so glad you said that, because a lot of times when a child is the key star witness, they will try everything they can to come to a plea deal with the person who committed the crime, right? And so the fact that they offered her a plea of 10 years was to try to preserve the child's innocence. He had already been through a traumatizing situation, and they were trying probably, this is just based on my past experience, like I said, personally, and from watching a lot of these trials with children involved, and knowing the story of what the prosecution team did prior to that. I feel like that they offered that to her because it would have been something for the crime, and it would have preserved him not having to come to court and testify against his mother. And so that even shows even more what they tried to do in order to try to not have to have the little boy come into court and testify. But she uses the fact that in the beginning of his interview with the police that he is saying that his sister drowned. And most of us who have children, we know that if we tell our children that something took place, even if they know something else took place, they might look at us like with a funny look, but they're going to initially say what we told them to say because they know that's what we told them to say. And I feel like that they exploited his police interview with that little piece that they put in this little advertisement in order to try to make his story in court inconsistent. That's just my opinion. Y'all let me know what y'all think. So we're gonna go. This is a very short clip.
The strength of the state's case could be distilled down to one factor, and that is AJ's version of the events.
This is her voice.
He was purportedly an eyewitness to the incident. All the details of his story we could show were false. Where he was standing, what he heard, what he observed, none of that could be corroborated by physical evidence or anything else. So it boiled down to his credibility.
Do you know the difference between a truth and a lie or a story?
No, so.
The child was saying things that clearly came from a while ago, or he would say something that just made no sense, that didn't go along with earlier things that he had said, like saying mom was outside by the pool, but just having said that she wasn't.
In the car to go get Adrian. And then, Adrian was trying to escape from Mama. And then Mama pulled back in the car. And then once they got back home, Mama threw her back in the pool.
You said that Adriana had left and your mama had to go get her?
So,
Where did she go?
I just had to go to the bus stop and wait to see why I picked her up.
And all this was today?
And there was no like chronology, and he was saying that things happened yesterday and he went to school. He was picked up by a bus, just things that seemed like they were completely impossible to have happened, given it was like just before school started.
He thinks he's telling the truth. He's trying to tell the truth. He's been traumatized. He's been brainwashed by other people, law enforcement, whatever.
AJ spent those critical initial hours after the incident with his grandmother Brenda and his step-grandfather Chuck, including an hour he spent alone only with Chuck prior to going into the sheriff's office.
In the research field, we talk about snowball bias effect, where information from one source then starts to snowball. So once that information was obtained from the step-grandfather, he says, here's what the child told me. And then now we see the snowball growing. Now that interviewers have in mind, oh, he is actually saying something, that he saw something. So then we bring in a medical examiner. If they provide also information that suggests drowning, that is not independent evidence.
What most people don't know is that the medical examiner is a direct extension of the prosecutor's office, the state's attorney's office. Dr. Sieber had been suspended prior to coming on to Amanda's case. He had been found to engage in problematic practices, which led to many flawed autopsies. It's vital that when you have a witness in a case that they be able to be questioned by both sides at trial.
Most drownings are accidents and not homicides. On the other hand, there are homicidal drownings. And in this case, I don't see anything in the physical findings and autopsy that compel that interpretation. The reason for thinking that is a statement of the young child.
So they're saying they are substantiating the drowning by saying that at the time, drowning was a leading cause of death in the state of Florida. And anybody who follows true crime has to be familiar with the Casey Anthony case. And this was also a theory that was floated during this, Casey Anthony case, where it was alleged that there was one of the theories was that there was possibly a drowning, and then it was this cover up to hide this accidental death, right? There were a few theories floated around this pool idea in the Casey Anthony trial, but that was one of them as well. And so they are saying that they are using this idea of the 7-year-old drowning in this pool. Now, mind you, in the Casey Anthony case, yeah, you remember them saying that? Remember, that was one of the theories that they were floating, was that there was a drowning, it was a panic, and then they did what they did to cover up and kind of disclose her body because they were trying to buy themselves some time, or hopefully she wouldn't be found or whatever. That was one of the theories that was played with, that could have been a possibility through that case. And so we do know that based on what they're saying here is that there had been a report of a lot of child deaths by drowning during that time. However, the pool that it was said that Kaylee was that she had access to was an in-ground pool. The pool that Adriana, it was like one of those it was slightly bigger than the kiddie pool. Slightly bigger. It wasn't like one of those little teeny kiddie pools that you fold up or whatever. It is one that you had to like blow up, but there it was raised up. And so the father in this, she was 7. You would think that she would be able to get herself up, to get herself out of it. The pool was not the same type of depth that was the pool that Kaylee would have had access to, or some of the other children who drowned. But I do know that there have been cases reported of children drowning in kiddie pools as well. But it's just a little less believable when you see the pool that they're alleging that this 7-year-old drowned in. I don't believe it. And I believe that the little boy's testimony was very convincing. How they are trying to depict where he said no sometimes and yes, where there was a little bit confusion, it was irrelevant to the materials of the case, right? In my opinion, right? But they are bringing in all of these things because, of course, they are fighting for her innocence. And so, Queen Keish, we are going to find out what they say here. She has had 2 appeals that both the decisions were upheld, right? That's what I found so far. So I don't know if she has something that she's in the works of that she's waiting for now. You said I do too, but was there more evidence? So I guess they are saying that the report, that this doctor that they are now, this medical examiner that they are now trying to say is, because of his other improprieties, that they don't deem that to be legitimate, that this substantiated the story of AJ, that the medical examiner's report did substantiate the story. That initially at the hospital, that the death was ruled a drowning. But then when AJ presented them with this story, when he ended up with his maternal grandmother, which would have been Amanda's mother, and then the maternal grandmother's husband or boyfriend, whatever that he calls his pop or papa, it was Chuck, him, the grandpa, the step grandpa, that he went in and he was the one who actually spoke to the detectives. Now they are not saying what would be the motive that the maternal grandmother, Amanda's mother, and stepfather would make up a story that her son told them something. So far, based on what they presented, I don't know what would be the motive that they would try to coax him into this story. It's not adding up to me. Yeah, she was offered a deal. She declined to involuntary manslaughter. Yep. She's 16 years into her sentence without parole. She was given 20 years. Life without parole. I'm sorry. Life without parole.
That I feel like every mother looks forward to. I can't get that back. I never thought that I was going to get her. They were going to tell me that my baby was gone. That feeling, I would not wish that on my worst enemy. Time does not heal it. Time does not make it better. Time does not make it go away.
She does not have any legal representation at the time. And then the last thing is for them to bring Amanda home. So let me check, Queen Keisha. Let me see, based on the website freeamandalewis.com. Let me see if there is anything any more up to date, because like I said, I believe she had an appeal in 2019, and then she had an appeal in 2010, and then one in 2019. Like I said, where the decision was upheld. But this website doesn't say if she is currently still attempting to exhaust her legal options. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say if she's still continuing, but they're asking people to share the story, to join the fight, and trying to free her. And so they are trying to figure out things. Right now, she doesn't have any legal representation, according to the end of that documentary, and according to the free Amanda Lewis website.com. I mean, a free AmandaLewis.com website. There is no updated information on if she is still pursuing. Well, of course, she's still actively pursuing, because they have this website up, but that there is nothing circulating in the courts right now that we know of that is trying to put in any new motion to do something at this time. And so I guess this is a plea to try to get her some kind of backing from the public, for those who sympathize with similar types of situations. But as you can see, this if her case is brought before the court again, if she has to go through any legal proceeding that would have to look at this case again, this runs the risk of her son having to come back and testify again and again. Now we see, it was only a couple of years removed from when I don't even know if it was a couple of years. It might have been less than a couple of years removed when he initially testified. But now it's been a much longer span of time, and that is something else that her defense team will exploit in order to try to gain her freedom. And so I wanted to bring that to you all, like I said, because the short gained so much attention. People had so many questions and concerns. Of course, it was gut-wrenching for people to watch this little boy on the stand having to testify against his mom after dealing with such a traumatizing situation. And you said the son convinced me as well. Well, he's grown now. I wonder if he remembers vividly. Yeah, and see, the thing is that that's the thing, Queen Keisha, the memory is so crazy. It is possible that he may have the event was so traumatizing that he could have tried to compartmentalize the event and might not be able to detail as well. But it is also like sometimes when something like that shocks the conscious, the mind never forgets. The human brain is so unique and different, the way that every individual person is set up, where some people repress that bad traumatizing memory, and then some people can vividly, like you said, detail, and sometimes better when they get older, because now they are able to put the events in a sequential order. Children always have issues with sequential order. And so that's why I wanted to play that video for you guys from the Georgetown Institute for Justice Institute, because I wanted you all to hear what they were trying to use to defend her innocence. And just based off of what I see, what I know, I don't buy none of it. I understand they might really believe, that she's really innocent. They might believe the story that she's telling. You look into some things surrounding the case, and a lot of times people don't want an innocent person to be wrongfully convicted. And so I'm not accusing the people over at the Georgetown Initiative of not being, not scrutinizing this with the highest level of scrutiny, but I can see how people on both sides might have a difference of opinion. It just so happens that I believe that he testified truthfully and honestly to what he saw happen to his sister that day. You said, well, yeah, he's grown now and yeah. And so right now, Queen Keish, I'm gonna look a little bit more into see what more I can find out, because I did that on a whim because of how much attention, like I said, the video was getting. I was getting alerts about the comments that were being left, and that was the concern, the baby having to testify. And I know he was a child, but I am going to call all kids babies. I call my grown kids babies still. So, but the baby having to testify, it was hard for some people to digest. But a lot of times, I think sometimes a society, I know it's hard to watch stuff like that, but sometimes we need that to shock our conscience back into humanity. Because sometimes we forget to be human in situations, and it is how, and the more we forget sometimes, then if, like anything else, if we don't practice it, then it's easy for us to be so insensitive. It's easy for us to be so dismissive. It's easy for us to turn a blind eye to stuff when we are not seeing what's happening, because we are worried about what those images will do to our own mental. But sometimes our faculties being alerted like that is what is alerting us to action, to actually do something about the wrong that we are seeing in the world. And so sometimes when I watch stuff like this, it helps me to be able to try to even better identify when I see things wrong, in the world, things that are not right. I'm a inquisitive person by nature, so I research everything. Sometimes it drives my mind crazy because I just look into too much shit. But I'm gonna definitely, Queen Keish, now that I know that you're interested, I know that Kim enjoyed not the subject of the content, but just listening to the story and trying to understand the situation better. And now that I know that there are people who were curious about why do they use child witnesses, I'm going to look more into the story and see what more up-to-date information we can find out. But as of right now, like I said, I know that there was an appeal in 2010, one in 2019. Both decisions were upheld. She is still currently incarcerated. She does not have legal counsel at this time, but the Georgetown Justice Initiative is attempting to try to help her because they believe she was wrongfully convicted. And so she has them helping her, and there is a Free Amanda Lewis website. There's not a lot of details, like I said, in the website, but it is a timeline of what she is saying took place. And then there's information on how to get in contact with them in order to help and offer support. And so if you watch this video and you listen to AJ's testimony and you listen to what Amanda had to say, and if you do believe that she is innocent, then hit up the Free Amanda Lewis Project. And if you have any resources or anything that can help her, then I'm sure that will be appreciated. As for me and my part, I believe AJ. I believe what AJ said. He was an amazing hero, and he got justice for his sister on that day. And that took a lot of courage and a lot of bravery, and I applaud him. I applaud the prosecution team who helped him through that. I applaud the guardian ad litem who stood right there with him while he did it. And I think that it was an amazing thing to see, because a lot of times we don't see that level of compassion when dealing with these types of situations. And so thank you guys for coming in here with me today and talking about this story and being so interested in this story. And I look forward to not bringing these stories to you, but talking with you guys about these kinds of stories, because nobody ever is joyful about these stories, right? But it's important that we talk about them in order, because us talking about them helps to sometimes prevention when we see something that we just did not even know what's going on in the world. And sometimes we might see it and say, well, I saw this happen when I was dealing with this family, or wait a minute, my cousin was doing something. Sometimes we only identify with seeing something wrong when we see other stories that we can be objective about, and then it will make us question some of the things that we have seen that we kind of overlook because of how close we are to the situation. And so again, like I said, thank you guys for being interested in coming in here and about the story. And I will look more into what I can find out about both AJ and Amanda. I thought it was cute that the aunt's name was Carla in the story. I did not know that before I did this story, but I hope that Carla has been getting him the help that he needs, and that she's been taking wonderful care of him, and that he is. I hope he is prospering in life. Y'all pray for him. You don't have to know somebody to pray for somebody. So just pray for this baby, okay? I know he's bigger now, but like I said, he's still going to be a baby. You said keep it coming. I would like to hear more differences. Okay, Queen Keisha, yeah, I'm already familiar with so many stories. So now that I know, like I said, that people are so interested in it, I'm definitely willing to talk about it, because child abuse, neglect, and exploitation is a passion of mine. Like I said, it is not just an epidemic, but it is a pandemic. It is around the world that this is happening. And so on my page earlier this morning, because Queen Keisha, I put the article up about the House of Representative member, because I promised y'all I would show y'all that. And I like to show you. I don't like to just tell you something and want you guys to take my word for it. I like to show you what is happening so you can know that as crazy as these things sound, there are people with these ideas. And when you question it the way that you did, it made me go back and revisit the idea that we are so used to having child labor laws in this country that prevent our children from having to be in situations like that we don't realize that we're not that far removed from child labor in this country, and children being on chain gangs. Children were seriously injured and hurt, and some fatalities because of child labor, the use of child labor. And unfortunately, in many other countries, that is still having to take. In this country, it's happening. It's an underground thing. It's not permissible, but it is happening in this country. I got an interesting story coming from out of I cannot remember. Maybe Kim, if Kim is still here, maybe he know. The split group from the Nation of Islam. I'm trying to think of what it is called. But there is an interesting child trafficking story that comes out of that group as well. And so, like I said, I'm familiar with a lot of stories that now that I know that you guys are interested, we will definitely come and talk about, because I like to take a break. Politics is my passion, but children are my passion too. And making sure that children are living safe is important to me. And so I like to take a break, because I know sometimes it can become overwhelming with everything political, especially when we're living in it. It is something we are actually dealing with. And so I like to sometimes take a break. And even though it's still another tough, hard subject to talk about, it's something that can inspire us to try to do what we can to try to help the situation. And so whenever I'm providing information, no matter what it's about, that's my hope, is that it will inspire somebody to do something, to react, that it will be a call to action. We are the stuff that we encounter and that we see every single day. It's not just for us to see for entertainment or for our pleasure. A lot of what we see is to ignite our spirit to do something about what we see. Malika York, I think she was, yes, that was the girl from the, what is it called? Because I can't, it's the name is missing me right now. But it was the group that split off from when Farrakhan took the Nation of Islam and became the head of that, and then the other, I cannot think of the name of the other organization, but yes, yes, that was her, I believe. Yes, Malika York. And yeah, there's a really interesting human trafficking story that comes out of that group. So like I said, now that I know you guys are interested in this, we will definitely be talking about this stuff, because this is stuff that helps bring awareness to people. Stuff that a lot of people don't even know this. Some of this stuff, basic stuff, they know this, but they don't know the depths of all of what is happening and the details of how severe it is out here with some of this stuff that is taking place. And so, like I said, I post some things on the board that I encourage you guys to travel down the rabbit hole. I like that saying. Let me tell you guys about that. Why I have been putting that lately. Because originally, when I decided that I was going to, start interacting with you guys on this channel, well, on the first channel, but then moved on to this channel because I can't access the first one anymore. I wanted to title my channel something about the rabbit hole, but there is another content creator that uses that. And so I couldn't, I didn't want to do that because I didn't want the name of my channel to be too similar to the new, I don't think it's that one. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find it, Kim. What is the wait a minute, split from. That is a branch off from them too, Kim, but I don't think it's that one. Hold on. The United Nation of Islam. That's what it is. I knew it was something that's the something in the same way, but just use the hold on. They just twisted it around just a little bit. Nation of Islam. But it is the United Nation of Islam, and they were based in Kansas, and there's an interesting human trafficking story of child labor being used out of that group. Hold on. So it's the UNOI. That's the acronym, and it's the United Nation of Islam, and the leader is incarcerated right now. Give me 1 second. He's in jail for this. Royal Jenkins. You remember that name, Cam? Royal Jenkins. He is the one who was the leader of the United Nation of Islam, and he is in jail. Well, I don't know. He might have died. Let me check, because he might have died. Hold on. I know so many stories that I don't sometimes. Yeah. So he is. So it's saying that they call it a cult, and it's out of Kansas, and like I said, Royal Jenkins was the leader. He it was a branch off from after all of that stuff went on with Louis Farrakhan, all of that, trying to figure out who was the next in succession, because there's always that. And so you have so many groups that split off from that. But from what I understand, the United Nation of Islam and the Nation of Islam were the two main groups that split off from that occurrence. And they were using child labor. Royal Jenkins, they claimed him to be Allah. Yeah, he was cited. They were creating all of these businesses. You said no, you don't remember Royal Jenkins. These names are so I know, Kim. I know it is, but yeah, they were let me see, because I thought I saw something that he passed away. But there was a death. There was a death that led to because of the child labor. There was a death that led to the investigation. Like I said, we're gonna close this live out on this story today. I'm going to do just some closing up of this story to try to follow up, just to see if there's any more recent updates on this story with AJ and Amanda and Adriana. But I'm going to also bring that story. I'm going to bring the story about the United Nation of Islam and Royal Jenkins, because that is a very interesting story. Listen, you guys, I always say I love to study this. I love to study everything. Since I was a little kid, I have been such an inquisitive child. And I don't like trusting what anybody tell me. So I always go and look. And I would spend hours in the library. I love to read. And it wasn't just about me loving to read. I love being in the library. Like, the feel of being in the library, the feel of books, stuff like that. So by nature, it's like my leisure time. I've researched for pleasure. right? So this is how sometimes I acquire all of this information, because it is information I probably don't even need to be using, but I acquire all of this information because I'm just, since I was a little girl, I've been inquisitive by nature. It's just where I've been. So I'm going to close out this live with you guys. I'm going to do some more just refreshing of my memory on this situation with the United Nation of Islam, and then I'm going to come back and bring this story to you. But yes, there is a death in this situation that is linked to the human trafficking allegations, and is what starts the process of them investigating this group. And this is another little trinket in that story. Leah Remini. Do you guys know about Leah Remini? She was on King of Queens. I think that's the name of the sitcom show. King of Queens. Leah Remini. She was with the Church of Scientology. She had a part in bringing this investigation to fruition. Her exposure about this fatality and helped to bring it to justice. And I was telling people that there is an interesting link between the Nation of Islam and Scientology as well. So we got a lot we could talk about, you guys. I like talking about this kind of stuff because, like I said, it allows us just to explore different topics and talk about different things that I might learn something from you guys. I hope y'all learn something from me, and we can just have a conversation. I'm not coming on here to try to build the channel or to try to get anything from this or whatever. I just enjoy talking to like-minded people who like talking about things and that enjoy talking about the same stuff that I do. And so I thank you all, like I said, for coming in. I'm going to end this live. I'm going to do some more refreshing in my memory on the United Nation of Islam and the events surrounding that arrest. And then I will talk to you guys soon. I love you. Peace.